In this video, we are looking at turning a word situation into an equation with two variables. So let's go ahead and dig in. A math music store sells used guitars. The total cost, and that's referring back to the used guitars, so the total cost of a used guitar is $25 more than half the cost of a new guitar of the same brand. And they want us to write an equation to represent this situation. So we are going to let the cost of a new guitar be X. So I highlighted cost of a new guitar, and I'm going to define that as X being the cost of a new guitar. Then we're going to let the cost of a used guitar be Y. So Y is going to represent the cost of a used guitar. Now we need to actually make an equation out of this, and we're going to go to this sentence that says the total cost. So the total cost, Y, is $25 more than half the cost of a new guitar, or $25 more than half of X. So we have Y, the total cost, and that is $25 more than. Remember when we said more than was a phrase that meant we're going to add 25 to something else? So I'm going to go ahead and leave a little space here and know that I'm going to add 25 to that. Well, what am I adding 25 to? Half the cost of a new guitar. So half the cost of a new guitar, and X represents the cost of a new guitar, so it's 1/2 X. So I have the total cost of a used guitar is half the cost of a new guitar plus $25. In our second scenario, we have a freshman class who's wanting to print class t-shirts to sell as a fundraiser. This t-shirt store, Texas City T-shirts, charges $30 as a setup fee and a flat rate of $7 for each shirt. Write an equation that represents this situation. So we're going to let the number of shirts be X. So let's go ahead and define that. X equals the number of shirts. And then we have to figure out what Y equals. Well, since they're talking about the cost for each shirt and the cost of the setup fee, Y is going to equal the total cost to print the shirts. So for our equation, the total cost to print the shirts is going to be a $30 setup fee plus a rate of $7 per shirt. So we get 30 plus 7x. Y equals 30 plus 7x. Okay, so those are our first two examples. Let us move on to the next one, dealing with bats and balls. So here we have Justin, who is trying to buy 2 bats and 6 balls. And he's buying these at the local sporting goods store, and the total cost is $42. And we have to write an equation to find the cost, so we know we're looking for an amount of money. And they give us how many bats and they give us how many balls. So basically, the cost of a bat is one of our variables. So we'll go ahead and look for that. X is going to be the cost of a ball. Since we are looking for cost, we need to know how much each ball costs in order to figure out how much, each bat costs in order to find out the total of the bats. And then for the balls, we have 6 of those, but we're going to let y equal the cost of each of those balls, or the cost of one ball. So we know that if we take twice the cost of a bat, because we have 2 bats, plus 6 times the cost of a ball, and the cost of a ball was y, we are going to equal a total cost of $42. So 2x represents the total cost of the bats, 6y represents the total cost of the balls, and the total cost of bats and balls together is 42. And here we have our equation in standard form. In our last example, we're not going to use x and y because this time we have peaches and apples, so we can use P and A. A local fruit stand sells fresh peaches and apples. The peaches sell for $1.95 per pound and $1.75 for each pound of apples. At the end of the day, the fruit stand earns $200 selling apples and peaches. So we know how much each pound of peaches or apples is, but we don't know how many pounds there are. So let's go ahead and let peaches, let's use a P for peaches, and that's going to be the number of pounds of peaches, or pounds of peaches. P is going to represent the pounds of peaches. And then our other part is apples. So we are going to let A, our apples, be the pounds of apples. How many pounds of apples we got? So I know that my peaches cost $1.95 per pound. So the cost for peaches is $1.95 for each pound of peaches. For my apples, I'm going to have $1.75 for each pound of apples. And all together, that is going to equal $200. So once I know the number of pounds of apples I sold and the number of pounds of peaches, multiply them by the appropriate dollar amount, add that together, and then you will get $200. So here we have 4 examples of writing an equation in 2 variables from a word problem.